I want to tell you all about our brand new blanket club for 2025. This is actually the third year of our blanket club, and interestingly it was something when we began we thought it might be a once-off, and we realized that it is an awful lot of fun to knit a blanket, particularly a lot of fun to knit a blanket with other people so that you've got support through the larger project. And also, I really like blankets in small pieces because they make excellent travel projects or little palette cleansers in between other bigger projects you might be doing. So if you look at a blanket and you think, I don't know if I can handle another big project, if you think of it as a 6-month project in between other things, it goes from being overwhelming to suddenly being really manageable and an awful lot of fun. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this year's blanket club is going to be about, what you get and the different ways you can join. So as with a lot of our other clubs, we have got both a full club and a digital only club. The digital only, as it sounds like, is going to have the digital content. So you'll get the full pattern for the blanket. You'll get all of the video workshops showing you how each of the parts are knit, how you start off, how they're joined together, and then talking through different options you might have for how you place them all at the very end. And we'll have a private forum where you can chat with other knitters, share what you're doing, and figure out, what color choices you're going to put together and how you're going to place your squares. We'll have a Zoom launch party, and I think we'll probably have a Zoom wrap up where we can talk about our choices, or people can discuss perhaps, what you're going to do to join them, and if you're going to change the way the blankets or squares are laid out. So it's a lot of fun, there's a lot of community, and there's a lot of support all the way through. So that's the digital club. The full club has all of that digital content, and in addition, you get all of the yarn, a tote bag, and a little pamphlet all about the club and about how the blanket gets put together. And so just a small bit more special little details that come in it. I will talk to you about all of the different yarn options there are in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk to you about the blanket and how it's different from previous years. In previous years, we focused very much on cables and more Aran style stitches. This time I've got both an interesting and different construction to me, which is the log cabin style construction, combined with Gansey stitches. So last year, the Torque Knit Along was the first time I explored Gansey stitches, and I kind of fell in love with them. They're knit purl stitches where you can create textures, motifs, and just really create some very nice surface fabric and surface interest with it. But there are so many different stitch patterns to play with, and a blanket like this seemed a really good way of kind of combining and playing with different ones that are different but still cohesive. So if you haven't come across a log style cabin before, the traditional one is going to be garter stitch, where you've got a garter stitch central square, you bind it on, knit your garter stitch, bind off, turn to the side, pick up stitches, and then knit a smaller strip of garter, bind off, turn again, knit another strip. So you can kind of see where this is going. You knit your strip, you turn, you knit the next strip. So the strips keep getting bigger as you circle your way, or well, it's not quite a circle, it's a square your way around in a spiral. You've got two options with the standard one. Either you can keep going like that, making longer and longer strips, but usually keeping them the same width, in which case you'll end up with very large square blanket, or you can do them in smaller squares that you can then seam together afterwards. Color options, like the sky's the limit with log style cabins. Sometimes people keep them very homogeneous and keep them almost all the same color or very little variation. Other times it can be a total rainbow of colors, and we've settled somewhere in between for our blanket. So when I talk through the colors, you'll see what I mean when it comes to that. Now, how we're merging them with garter stitch, with the Gansey stitch pattern, is we're going to take some sections that will be garter stitch and then some that will be the Gansey stitches, where as you go around, instead of doing it in garter stitch, you'll be introducing these Gansey style stitches as you work your way around the square. There'll be several different squares. You can interchange, depending on the stitch count, the different stitches for the different squares. You can do more of the ones you like. You can perhaps introduce and play with ones that you haven't done yourself before. So the sky's the limit with it, and you can really, really make it your own. So that's how we're going to be kind of making an interplay between Gansey and log style blanket. Now the next thing we're going to take a look at is the yarns. So if you are doing the yarn yourself, obviously you'll be doing that if you get the digital club. But with the full club, we've got several different yarn options. There's 3 different yarn types. First one being a new to me one, which is Mota from Wool Dreamers. 3 different color family options. Each color family is going to have 5 different colors. Each of these 3 is the main color, so that will be the surround and the center, so the ones that are going to be the dominant color. And then the other 4 colors that go with it are going to gradually go from a lighter to a darker color within similar color families. This yarn is, it's quite a soft but fairly robust, like a nice bounce to it yarn. So it's very pleasant to knit with. It's going to make a soft blanket, but it's still going to have a nice little bit of robustness to hold the stitches very well. So very pleasant to knit with. We've got a couple of other options over here, and both of these have been milled in Ireland. We've got Blosta yarn, which you'll have encountered before. Blosta is 60% Irish fleece and 40% New Zealand fleece, milled by Donegal Yarns. It's a woolen spun yarn, so it's got a little bit of wooliness to it. It's still going to have a nice bit of durability so that it will hold your stitches nicely. It'll show the actual knits and purls really well. So this is going to be pleasant to knit with, have a nice stitch definition, and just it's a very nice one to work with. If you have joined one of our clubs before, you'll have used this yarn previously as well. And our third option is a variant on a yarn that we've used before. We've previously done the Gallav yarn, but it's always been just a natural color, undyed color. This time round, we are using 5 new colors that have been designed by the artist Ellie Dunn, and they are really a lovely range of browns into this. I was going to say it's kind of a mustardy grello color, which is going to be the primary color that will be all around. If you've knit with Gallav before, you'll know that it's a more robust yarn. It's not going to be as soft as the other options, but it will be really good for stitch definition. And it is our native Irish sheep, and it's 100% Irish wool. In addition to this, Ellie Dunn, one of the charities that she supports is the Together Academy. And so we're really happy to have the Together Academy being the charity that's going to be supported by the Blanket Club this year. So for the whole of 2025, there will be €5 from every Blanket Club, whether full or digital, that are going to go to the charity. And we'll make sure that we let you know how much gets supported by that. We will have more details coming out all about the charity, or you can look up togetheracademy.ie yourself if you want to learn a little bit more. Now for the timing, we will not forget that. This club is going to be coming out on pre-sale on February the 6th. So make sure you're in the newsletter, set your timers, jump in so you get your colour option. And once that has been on, it'll be on sale for a few weeks. Once it closes, we'll get all of our orders into the mills, and we're going to start shipping mid-April. Then the pattern is going to come out in the middle of May. A little bit different from previous years. This time the pattern is going to come out in one single installment. The reason for that is the way the squares are put together. They require quite a bit of explanation, so it's easier to give it as a single square and a little bit more cohesive. So after that, we'll have our Zoom launch party. I can talk through the construction, and we can really dig into this very, very interesting new construction style. So I hope to see you in this year's Blanket Club.